Hey there, Alex here. This video is for you if you feel like you might get awakening, or you feel like you've had some kind of awakening experience, but you think, why do I still feel fear and resistance? Why do I still feel negative emotion? Why don't I always feel completely at peace and free all the time yet? Isn't awakening supposed to be the end of suffering? Perhaps I'm still missing something. Perhaps there's something else I still need to understand. This video is going to be very illuminating for you, and it's going to explain a lot. It's quite possibly going to be the missing key. And this video might trigger a few people. I don't mean trigger their traumas necessarily. I mean, a lot of people get into non-duality and they think that awakening is going to be this instant peace, bliss, or pure nothingness, and that all their negative emotions are going to go away instantly. Or that all you have to do is rest as awareness and everything will magically sort itself out. Or they hear certain non-duality speakers that say, there's no one here and there's just what's appearing, and so they think that they have nothing to do and there's no control anyway, so why bother? And any suggestion otherwise seems to be a divergence from true non-duality. But then they secretly wonder why they still feel apathetic, why they aren't doing the things they secretly want to be doing, why they aren't being completely free and expressing themselves spontaneously in a truly fulfilling way. And they try to intellectually bypass these wants by saying, well, my understanding is that all these wants are just part of the ego or part of the mind. What I've heard from non-duality is that nothing matters and nothing has a reason, so what's the reason to do anything? Or they say, I've heard other non-duality speakers say, there's no free will and I have no control, so I can't control anything anyway, so why bother? But to get to the bottom of this, we have to tell the truth. If you really believe and have integrated that there's nothing to do and nothing has a reason and nothing matters, then you should be completely free of fear, right? I mean, nothing matters, and I can see that all there is this awareness or what's apparently happening, and so what's the reason to worry about anything, right? If you really believe and have integrated that there's no control, then why are you still trying to control things? By avoiding the fear that doing what you want to do or acting spontaneously brings up in you. The truth is, non-dual awakening is the revelation that you're not just this person. You're not just this separate, limited individual, that you are this infinite consciousness as which everything's appearing. But that doesn't mean the appearance of the person disappears. Yes, you're awake in the dream, but that doesn't mean the dream of being this person ends. And it doesn't mean that all the person's fears and traumas disappear instantly. It still appears. It's just that now you see it for what it is. It is true that your true nature, or what's appearing, is peace, love, and fulfillment. And it is true that with awakening, this can be seen instantly. You can notice immediately that no thought, no feeling, no life experience, however uncomfortable or intense, can ever harm this awareness that you are. And you can have the experience of the profound relief that comes with the illusion of being just a separate person falling away. You can experience immediately the relief of the end of the illusion that doing all those things to serve this idea of being a person, to build yourself up and to achieve things in the world, to absolve yourself of a sense of lack and bring some kind of lasting fulfillment is ultimately fruitless. And that there is no true peace or fulfillment apart from in your very own self, with a capital S, apart from what's appearing right now. So on the level of consciousness, you are already free. You're ultimately free from all these thoughts, feelings, and experiences, and what you essentially and already are is this consciousness that's already at peace. But as unpopular as me saying this might be, on the level of the person, you're not necessarily free yet. This non-dual revelation takes time to trickle into the body and mind. It takes time for your thinking, feeling, and behavior to align to the ultimate truth. But now you're awake, the perfect stage has been set for all your realignment and all your emotional releasing and all your trauma healing. So, you already are this beingness. And the qualities of this beingness are peace, love, and freedom. And you may be able to sense that. But then you may wonder, why aren't I feeling and acting in those ways all the time? The truth is, it's the suppressed emotions and traumas still living in the body that are appearing to cover it up. And they're fueling all of these thoughts, all of this doubt, all of this fear that's still present in you. Look, suppressed emotions and traumas are like physical wounds. They're like a physical wound to the brain and the nervous system. They exist as very real effects and changes in the nervous system and physical tensions in the body. And so they take time to heal, and you may have to do something about them. Simply resting as awareness or telling yourself there's no one here and nothing to do, in most cases, isn't going to resolve it. If you don't believe me, imagine someone has a non-dual awakening, but then they have a massive wound on their leg at the same time. You know that wound isn't going to suddenly be healed. And you know that if it's really bad, they might have to do something about it. They might have to disinfect it or use a dressing or in some cases, even get a surgery, some kind of intervention. And that is the same for emotional wounds and traumas. Sometimes you need to do something to get into it. But the good news is, with non-duality and realizing your true nature, the perfect stage has been set for healing and releasing all of it. Trauma healing therapists, before doing any deep healing work, are always looking to increase the person's window of tolerance for them to be able to feel intensely and still be able to cope. Or they help people create a safe space or help people have access to inner safety or inner resources so that they can cope with the healing process and they don't get completely dysregulated and re-traumatized, because they know you have to feel it to heal it. They know that the person has to experience all the suppressed feelings to bring them to the light of consciousness so they can be released. With non-duality and the revelation of your true nature, in a way, you have the ultimate safety. You have the ultimate window of tolerance, because it is seen that these feelings, however intense, cannot ultimately harm what you essentially are. And it is seen that these thoughts, however negative sounding, however seemingly real, aren't who you really are and aren't the ultimate truth. So, this enables you to bring up all the suppressed feelings, to experience the thoughts of this character living within you who feels anxiety, fear, guilt, anger, shame, and to allow the thoughts to be there and do their thing and to embrace them in the loving, compassionate, aware presence that you are. A lot of people think that non-duality is about denying the person, denying the character, but that's just another form of spiritual bypassing. Counterintuitively, it's actually about honoring the character, allowing the character to feel what it feels and say what it's going to say, and honor the relative truth of that, whilst knowing it's not who you ultimately are. This allows you, over time, to bring up layer by layer all the suppressed feelings, all the fears and doubts and insecurities, and to allow them to process and release, and to allow the old patterns to be repatterned with new thoughts, new feelings that are now in line with the truth of who you really are. Imagine beingness, awareness, consciousness as this infinite open expanse, and that this is peace and freedom. Now imagine a lifetime's worth of fear, apathy, guilt, lust, and pride stuck in the body and the subconscious mind, and sometimes, when they've been triggered, in the conscious mind too. Now imagine that those suppressed feelings are covering up this beingness, The peace and freedom of this beingness is already here, but it's not being fully felt yet in the body and mind because the old beliefs and feelings are still dormant in the body and mind. Imagine them being like an onion or a ball of knotted elastic bands. Now, they're going to be triggered by one of two things, by you either thinking or imagining something that triggers them, or you experience a life event that triggers them. Now they have risen from the body and the subconscious mind into conscious awareness. This is where they can be released and resolved. Trauma healing and emotional releasing is about getting into all these layers of stuck feeling and inattention and actively triggering them. And with the right approach, releasing, resolving, and repatterning them. And every time you bring up a layer and it peels back and releases, another layer has been dissolved and you're getting to the core of it. You're gradually peeling back those layers of the onion. You're gradually untangling that knotted ball of elastic bands until it completely unwinds. But a word of warning. At the bottom of all this fear and anxiety is the most primal fears, like the fear of running out of money, losing your home and not being able to eat. Things that are related to your basic human security. And then underneath that, right at the bottom, is the fear of death, the fear of annihilation of the body and mind. So many psychologists and therapists might say, you don't need to go that far, that you don't need to get rid of all of your anxiety, and you should just get to the point where you're able to function in the world, and that's enough. And that is functional. And I'm not saying you have to go to the deepest layer if you don't want to, or you don't feel ready yet. But if you want to be truly free on the level of the body and mind, I'm just letting you know that's where the path ends. But let's not get too heavy too quickly, eh? Let's just deal with the things that are currently blocking you from acting free and spontaneous and doing what you really want to do. The truth is, I can't give you the complete how to release all stuck trauma and emotions in one short video. There are many ways to get into it. And I've developed whole processes that I guide people through to accelerate this. But I can give you the foundation. The foundation is to start cultivating awareness, the felt sense of the body. Right now, take your attention away from the mind for a moment and simply feel physically what you're physically feeling in the body. This isn't anything abstract. This is raw, physically felt sensations. Stay here with me. You may feel tension, tightness, or islands of sensation. They might be comfortable or uncomfortable. For a moment, get underneath all those labels and just experience the raw, physically felt sensations. And notice that as you hold your attention there, they may begin to move or change or soften a little. Now, whilst you continue to feel those sensations, think of something that makes you angry or anxious, and notice any change of the sensation that you can feel in the body. You'll probably feel the sensation becomes more intense. Now you're getting into it. You're bringing up more of it so it can be released. Just simply allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. Eventually, the feelings will soften again. Now, just resting your attention like this, and going through the process and allowing the sensations to be fully felt, will often begin the releasing process and allow several layers to dissolve. But for many of you, you may have to do some extra things to get into it, and you may need to cultivate a sense of inner safety so you can really feel it and know that you can bear it. Some other things that can get deeper into it are shadow work journaling, trauma healing, and emotional releasing work. And for full healing and integration, you must repattern the old wounding and negativity with positivity or new realizations. Yes, even though non-duality appears to make the story irrelevant, sometimes it's not. And we still work on the level of the story too. This is a holistic process. You may have been given and socialized into all kinds of dysfunctional negative thinking patterns and behaviors, and they aren't going to magically change into functional, confident, loving behaviors on their own just by simply resting as awareness. You may have to do some talking about it, or journaling about it, or thinking about things that you know to be true now. If the character is scared of the consequences of doing what you really love because of childhood trauma, it may only end after the story is concluded with your higher self telling that child self why there's no reason to fear. If the character fucking hates someone because of how you were treated, you may have to resolve that story by coming to forgiveness and love. That's when the feelings are fully released and resolved. That's when the character and the thinking of the character ends. That's when you are truly free. For one-on-one coaching inquiries, for those who are serious about completely transforming their life, go to speaktoalex.com. Peace.